For this workout, you can use a Pilates ball. That's optional. If you don't have a Pilates ball, then just lies directly on the floor. So you're going to place the ball underneath your sacrum and your lower back to get into the start position here. We're just going to start with a simple movement of lifting the leg. So inhale to set up your core, exhale, activate pelvic floor, transverse abdominis, and then a little bit of rectus abdominis as you're flexing that leg up and down. We're going to do 10 repetitions here. As you're moving, make sure that you're keeping your jaw as relaxed as possible and your neck as relaxed as possible. Really trying to isolate this movement to the lower core and pelvis. A couple more on this side. The Pilates ball just adds a little bit of instability for this movement, but this can definitely be done just on the floor by itself. Switching sides here. Exhale and lift, activating that core. Thank you so much for joining me for this workout. It's a nice, easy core workout to do. And really be proud of yourself for taking this time. Do a little bit of strengthening, a little bit of relaxation. And really honoring that body and knowing that we really don't have to work super hard to get good effects for our core and our overall pelvic strength. So moving into our next movement here, we're going to make this a little bit harder. Starting with one leg up. Inhale for setup, exhale, straighten the leg. So again, not a terribly difficult movement here, but can be quite challenging if you have really tight hamstrings. Now, if you're finding that you really can't get that leg straight or it's hard to hold up, you can use a yoga belt to help support that leg if you're a little bit weak for those quads. As you're exhaling, activating the core and straightening the leg, what I want you to focus on is really activating the front of that leg and pointing that toe. Doing 10 repetitions on each side. I'm just checking my diastasis here to see whether or not she's keeping up with this exercise. I think she's doing okay there. Sometimes even with easier exercises, we can have a gap that we just want to make sure that our core activation patterns are doing well. So 10 activations on this side here. Exhaling, activating core, and really straightening that leg, activating that quads, really looking to get that leg as straight as possible. And if you're not quite getting as straight as me, not to worry. It took me a long time to get here. But this is a really nice foundational exercise for if we want to do higher level Pilates. And if you're following along with me, we'll do higher level Pilates in upcoming videos. Couple more here. I'm really focusing on trying to keep that neck relaxed during this movement. Wonderful. So just taking that ball out if you do have a ball. I'm going to move into a bridge. So exhale, activate, lifting hips off of the ground, and I'm just squeezing the ball gently as we lifted those hips up. Exhale, activate, lifting hips up and squeezing the ball. Doing 10 here. If you don't have a ball, you can use a pillow and squeeze that. Absolutely. Just a nice easy bridge here. Now what I'm really focusing on for this bridge is not over activating my glutes. I'm looking for pelvic stability, so I'm actually focusing more on the front. So as I exhale, activating pelvic floor, transverse abdominis, while lifting, and just a little touch of glute. Couple more. Wonderful. I'm just going to place the ball behind my head so it doesn't roll away. You don't have to. And just taking a happy baby break here. If you can't quite get your feet, you can put your hands behind your thighs. And just taking a couple pelvic floor breaths, breathing down deep into the lower rib cage, all the way down to the pelvic floor. Just doing a little bit of rocking here. Crossing one leg over the other just to work on the glutes a little bit here. I'm going to take the ball away. And reaching up to grab behind the thigh. And breathing down to the pelvic floor. I'm a huge fan of just doing a little bit of mobility work, almost as an active rest in between sets. Wonderful. Putting the ball back under the sacrum, we're going to kick it up a notch here. So if these movements are a little bit too challenging, you can go back to the first movement of just lifting the leg off of the ground. So just checking out my diastasis here. We're going to inhale, activate deep core system, and lifting the other leg up to 90 and back down. Exhale, activate, lift, and down. Trying to keep that neck nice and relaxed. You can do a little bit of an arm press into the ground to help that core out. As long as you're keeping that neck relaxed, you want to think about maybe squeezing oranges under the armpits. Can really be helpful. But your intention should be bottom up, thinking with pelvic floor first. Switching sides. Inhale, set up. Exhale, activate and lift. Really trying to keep that core on. Just adjusting here a little bit. And lift. Good. Exhale, activate and lift. Couple more here. And last one. Beautiful, awesome work. Place the ball between the knees if you're using the ball, and just pull the knees to the chest. Nice big breath down to pelvic floor, little circles of the knees. You can switch directions, just releasing tension. And placing the ball back if you're using that ball. Moving into a similar exercise, just even a little bit harder. So we're going to tap down. Exhale, activate, bring up, up, down, down by the end of the exhale. Inhale, exhale, activate, lift, lift, and down, down. And again, lift, lift, down, down. Try to avoid breath holding throughout this movement. You're exhaling through the movement as you move the legs. Couple more here. And again, as always, trying to keep that neck relaxed. And if this is just too difficult or you're fatiguing out, just take a break. And you can always drop down to one of the easier versions at any time. Good job. So I'm just going to do a spinal twist, and feel free to do whatever stretches in between each strengthening exercise that feel intuitive to you. This just felt intuitive to me. And other side. Sometimes it's just easier to follow along. Let's work on some lateral chain stuff now. So just trying to figure out where I want to put the ball. Sometimes I put it under the bottom leg. I don't think I want to do that tonight. I'm going to use it as a pillow. That sounds about right for me. Bringing that bottom leg forward, and we're just going to lift the leg up. It's a nice, easy movement. I'm really not thinking too much about core activation here, to be completely honest with you. Just kind of trusting my core to do her job. A little bit of core activation as I lift. You'll notice my belly button is pointing a little bit towards the floor, and I'm thinking long with the leg. I'm doing 15 reps here. We're going to definitely get a little bit of burning on. Then we're going to stop at neutral with the hip and do 10 extensions. Bend and extend, keeping that thigh in line with the hip. Definitely going to feel a little bit of burning here, which is what we want. After 10 of these, we're going to do some little circles for 10. And backwards. Awesome, you got this. Great, let's put that top leg in front and extend the bottom leg. And we're just going to lift and do a little bit of adductor pulse here, not for too long. I'm going to do 20. Nice and quick. And again, not thinking too much about core right now, to be honest with you. Sometimes the core just needs a little bit of a break, but we still want to be active. We still want to be stressing those muscles. And these two exercises are really low torque on the core, so I feel pretty confident not having to worry about the core too much in that position. Now let's switch sides. You can use your ball as a pillow if you want to. And bringing that bottom leg forward and stretching that top leg back, rolling belly button towards ground and lifting quite quick here for 15 reps. Really extending through that leg. Think about pointing the toe. Think length through the leg. Little tiny bit of core activation. And stopping and bending. Bend and straighten. Bend and straighten for 10. And bracing any burning that we have going on here. You're doing awesome. Keep it up. And 10 circles forwards. And 10 circles backwards. I definitely skipped the backwards circles there, so you might want to finish that off quick. And 20 pulses of adductors here. Again, thinking length through that leg. Fantastic. All right. Let's do a child's pose just to chill out a little bit. This isn't the prettiest looking child's pose, let's be honest, but sometimes we just need to move intuitively. If you want to get picky with it, you can really think about pushing that chest towards the ground. I'm just really resting for just a moment here. Moving into knee hovers, hands under shoulders, knees under hips. You want to find a neutral thoracic spine and a neutral pelvis. It could take a little bit of playing around for that. On your exhale, you're activating core and you're lifting the knees. Surprisingly difficult exercise when you're just strengthening early postpartum, or really at any time. Like, I'm 16 months postpartum and I still have to really focus with this one. Inhaling down to pelvic floor, exhale, activate pelvic floor, transverse abdominis, a little bit of lat. So imagining you're squeezing oranges under the armpits can be helpful for this. And you're really trying to maintain pelvic alignment and upper back alignment for this movement. Doing 10 repetitions here. Activate, really get that core on as you lift, and holding for a second and coming back down. Awesome job. Great. I'm going to do a child's pose with a twist here underneath. Just trying to get a bit deeper there. And other side. Fantastic. Nice big breaths down to pelvic floor and into where you're stretching during all of these stretching movements. Okay, so we're going to move into a more advanced quadruped hover where we're shooting the leg back. So on your exhale, you're going to lift and straighten the leg, come back and down by the end of your exhale. Inhale, exhale, activate, lift and shoot it back, and then come back and down. Now, if that's too hard, just stay with the lift without the shoot. I'm just checking my form out here because I feel like I'm losing a little bit of control. Great. So yeah, that's about it for me. So you could see my pelvis was tucking under. So I'm just going to finish off this set with the knee lifts. You can definitely keep shooting that leg back if you feel strong enough and that you're maintaining alignment. But with really honoring our body, it doesn't matter how many we're doing. If the body's not ready for it, it's not ready for it. And that can change on a given day depending on how tired you are. Awesome. Good. I'm just going to do some side bends here. I think my lateral chain is feeling a little tight today. I've been doing a lot of lateral chain stuff for my stretching. But again, you can do your favorite stretches. You don't have to follow me. Just moving your body in a way that feels good for you and feels intuitive. You're following along with me here, doing nice big breaths into the side. Just took a quick look at my time on my phone because I want to keep this exercise series down to about 20 minutes or so. Working on my wrists here. My wrists get really, really tight from treating all day. So this is just a nice little prayer twist, especially after those quadruped exercises. All my manual therapists out there know what's up with that one. Finishing off with a little bit of neck mobility. Tipping an ear to the side, breathing deep into the neck. And really starting to sink into body here. Bringing ear to other side, breathing in. And on exhale, sinking into body. Looking up, breathing into front of the neck, opening chest, and looking down. And moving the neck in any way that feels good, and just exploring tension here. Fantastic. Going into reclining goddess and cobbler's combination, my favorite stretch in the whole wide world. Opening chest up, opening knees up. If you want to make this restorative, grab some pillows or some bolsters. And let's sink right down deep into body here. Really feeling good about honoring yourself today, taking time today to do a little bit of strengthening, a little bit of mobility work. Breathing deeply through the bottom of the rib cage down to the pelvic floor, and lastly into the chest, filling up your whole abdomen here. And on your exhale, sinking deep into the ground and into yourself. Notice any sense of urgency to either pause the video or stop. And if you are able to, stay with me here for a few more minutes. As you breathe in, noticing any areas of tension you may be holding, either in the mind or the body. Just switching my legs here to a different position, knees in and feet out. And moving into straight legs now, arms beside, really getting grounded now. As you breathe in, filling your whole body with air from head to toe. And as you exhale, sending energy deep down below you into the earth. Taking a few moments here to send gratitude and love to yourself as you inhale, thanking your body for the beautiful gift it's given you tonight, and thanking yourself for taking this time. I hope you enjoyed this series, and I'd recommend to do this 3 times a week or so. Stay tuned for the next series in a couple of weeks.